Okay students, today's topic is scope or role or characteristics of corporate governance. In the previous class, I was discussing with you about the meaning of corporate governance, the functions of board of directors and who are the board of directors, right. Now, you all know the meaning of corporate governance. It is nothing but the rules and regulations to govern the organization. Now, coming to the scope or characteristics of corporate governance, the first one is value based corporate culture. That means, see, an organization, it should have a good practice of corporate governance. That means, it should be value based. See, if you, for example, if you have good habits, good punctuality, discipline, you will have more value in your atmosphere with your relatives, friends, neighbors, right. In the same way, an organization which has good practice will have more value. So, the organization, to have a good image, it should practice value based corporate culture in its ethics, principles, objectives, goals, targets, etc. Coming to the second point, holistic view. Now, holistic view, holy means what? It is nothing but God, godly nature, right. See, every organization, it takes care of its employees by paying the salaries, taking care of the health and safety of the employees. So, whenever the employees come to the organization, they think that the company is paying for them, it is like a god for them, right. So, we are treating all the employees in the organization in an equal manner. So, there is no casteism, there is no partiality between the culture, religion in an organization. Since it is giving equal importance to everyone, we call the organization as a holistic view. Coming to the third point, compliance with laws. See, every organization, to run its organization in a successful manner and to sustain for a longer duration, it should go according to the law. You should not do anything which is illegal or which is against the law. For example, there are some acts kind like Companies Act, Labour Act, Banking Law Act, SEBI, right. So, each and every act, it has its own rules and regulation. The organization has to abide and follow the laws. So, that is called as compliance with laws. Coming to the fourth point, disclosure, transparency and accountability. See, whenever the proper information is required by the concerned authorities, the organization should be ready to disclose the accounts. For example, if there are IT people coming to check the accounts of the organization or the auditor wants some necessary information, you should not hide anything. When do you hide? When you have done some mistake. But when you maintain the proper records, there is nothing to be hidden. You are not scared to hide any documents. You are ready to disclose, right. So, the organization should maintain the proper records in order to disclose it to the required people. Then it should maintain transparency. Proper bills, vouchers, everything should be maintained and there should not be any hidden information between the management and the accountant. And accountability. Accountability means when you are given some responsibility, you are accountable to answer to the required people. So, that is called as disclosure, transparency and accountability. Coming to the fifth point, corporate governance and HRM. HRM means what? Human resource management. Now, human resource are the important assets of the organization. So, human resource in the sense it comprises of the top management, the middle level management and the lower level employees. So, all these are like just one family in an organization. Therefore, the human resource should be given best opportunities for their development. So, the corporate governance should go in relation to the growth of the human resource in the organization. Coming to the next one, innovation. See, every corporate body, in order to sustain for a longer duration, they should always be creative, that is innovative. They should spend on research and development and do something new, give some products every time new to the customers. Only then you can survive for a longer duration. The next point is necessity of judicial reform. See, there is a necessity of the organization to have a judicial reform, that is, it should always have a good economy, and in today's changing globalization and liberalization, there is a changing scenario. You cannot be static, you should be dynamic and you should change according to the changes in the judicial reforms. Next one is helping Indian companies to become global giants. So, the government should support the Indian companies to go global and to compete with the global companies and to be a part of one of the global companies nowadays. So, for this the government should give some flexibility and support the corporate bodies. So, that is called as helping the Indian companies to become a global giants. Coming to the last point, lessons from corporate failure. See, every person, he learns from his failures, right? In the same way, every organization, there will be some failures which it has already experienced, and they have to keep learning from those experiences, and those problems should not be repeated again. That means they should have a ready solutions for the future failures based on the past experiences. So, this helps the organization to learn the lessons from their failure and to keep the solutions for the upcoming failures. Okay students, I hope all of you have understood all the above points related to the scope, characteristics or role of corporate governance. So, all the corporate sectors should follow and accompany all these points for their long term success in the corporate sector, that too nowadays due to the changing scenario and heavy level of competition, they should follow these corporate governance rules and regulations, which is very important for the long run survival of the organization.